Let's talk about React. The very first thing I would like to do today is to show you how to create a new application using React. There are many different ways to do that. I will show you what is probably the easiest way, right? In classic software development, creating a new project in JavaScript was very rudimentary. You created a new index.html file, index.javascript, index.css, all times, all times. In the 21st century, software is more complex, as you can imagine, right? Do you know, if you play video games, do you remember Mario 64? Yeah, from Nintendo 64. It's a masterpiece, right? Do you know how big the game was in terms of size, in terms of megs? How many megs Mario 64 was? Was 64 megs. Do you know how big a JavaScript project today, even without touching a single line of code, just doing the setup? Do you know how big a React project is? It's 350 megs. And we got nothing out of that, right? Anyway, thankfully now disk space is way cheaper than it used to be in the 90s, so who cares? Cool. So the very first thing we're going to do is I would like to bootstrap a new React application. So I hope you follow the instructions about how to prepare your working environment. So the very first thing we need to do is to make sure we got Node. The way to prove you got Node, if you type node -b, I'll show you again. So type in node -b will tell you whether you got Node installed or not. This is a requirement. You need Node to start dealing with React. Yeah? It goes beyond the scope of the session to explain what Node means, but anyway, it's something that we need to create powerful, modern software using JavaScript. By the way, do you know why JavaScript? Why JavaScript and not Python or Java? Does anyone know why JavaScript is the most popular language in the world today? First of all, do you know that JavaScript is very popular, right? Yes. Right, so JavaScript is very popular. It's the most popular language. You know GitHub? GitHub is where the code is. It's the Bible of coding, right? So GitHub says, and if GitHub says that, who am I to say the opposite, right? So GitHub says that that JavaScript is more popular than the second and the third programming language combined, which is incredible. It's mind-blowing. It's more popular than Python and Java altogether, right? I've been doing JavaScript professionally since 2002. At that time, JavaScript was nothing, literally nothing. And today it's huge. It's a monster in a positive, sometimes in a negative way as well. But generally speaking, in a positive way. Yeah. So, and why JavaScript is so popular? Because it was here and now it's there. What happened? What happened over the last 20 years?
More responsive applications, like people are more using digital apps, like the device. Earlier it was just the mainstream computer, but now you've got laptop, tablets, mobile phones.
Yeah, I agree on that. So everyone is connected, right? But hey, you can use Java for that. You can use C#, right? You can use other technologies. Why JavaScript? What's different?
You can use from the server side and the client side too, maybe?
That's a very interesting approach, and that's a good reason. JavaScript runs everywhere, yeah? Not only on the client side, not only on your Google Chrome, it also runs on the dark side, on the backend. But it's not the main reason either. That's a technical good reason why JavaScript is so popular. But there is something even more important, and it's not a technical reason. Surprisingly, the reason why JavaScript is so popular is everything but technical. JavaScript was originally released in 1995. And at that time, the web obviously was not as important, right, as it is today. But at that time, JavaScript decided to get married with the browser. Yeah? Even though in 1995 a web browser was something a bit, Strange, yeah? Why not? Strange. You remember Netscape, all these things? Yeah? But the browser today is everywhere. It's on the laptop, it's on the tablet, it's on the phone, even in some smart watches. Because the browser is everywhere, and JavaScript was the only language to get married with the browser. As a side effect, JavaScript is everywhere. So JavaScript is the only programming language in the world that allows you to create an application once and then offer it immediately to every single device you have. That's incredible. That's one of the reasons why JavaScript is so popular. There are many developers, classic developers from Java, from Python, that are joining JavaScript because they realize the potential. Yeah? Because of that huge support from the community, the standard is also evolving. Don't get me wrong. JavaScript is not any better than other programming language. It's not more performant. It isn't more reliable, more scalable. It's not none of that. But it's everywhere. Yeah? No one else can say that. Yeah? So that's why JavaScript became so popular, and as a side effect, that's why we got Angular, we got React, we got jQuery, we got all these sort of tools to help you creating powerful applications. So today we're going to talk about one of them, which is React. React is the king of the JavaScript libraries, at least in Europe and United States. As I said before, originally introduced by Facebook, it's a very interesting, it offers a very sexy approach towards coding. So we're going to explore some of the capabilities that React offers to you. So again, we got Node, hopefully that's a good thing. So now I hope you all got Create React App. Do you remember Create React App? Do you watch the video? 15 minutes video, right? So as part of that video, we ask you to do npm install -g create React App. If you haven't done that yet, it's your last chance now, right? So by running that command, if you're a Mac user, be careful because that won't work. If you're a Mac user, you need to type sudo in front of the command. If you're a Windows user, it will probably work without sudo. Yeah? So what is Create React App? Create React App is a desktop application also offered by Facebook that will set up the skeleton of a modern and powerful app using React. Hassle-free, zero config. Without that tool, we may need days to get something working. With that tool, it will take us between 2 and 3 minutes to download and install everything. Yeah? So if you didn't run that, please type that command in a terminal. This is a terminal, right? This black screen with white text. You know, on the news, every time they talk about hack attacks and these kind of things, they always show these weird screens, right? Lots of white text showing in front of a black screen. That's a terminal. If you're a Mac user, you can open a terminal, simply type in terminal, unsurprisingly. If you are a Windows user, you can type PowerShell. If you have a recent version of Windows, if you are using Windows XP, it's probably time to change your laptop. But before that, you can type CMD, and that will open a rudimentary yet effective terminal in Windows ecosystem. Yeah? Cool. So once we got Create React App installed, that means we can bootstrap applications using React. And that's the very first task of the day. I guess the majority of you already did that because that was part of the preparation tasks. But if not, once you got Create React App installed, which could take 1 minute or so because it's downloading few utilities from the internet, then what we can do is we can type Create React App space and then the name of the app that you want to create, right? So what are we going to create today? I'm going to select a topic, a random topic. Feel free to change the topic. What I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about Hollywood actors. I would like to create an app to display a bunch of actors and actresses, yeah, with pictures, how old they are, you know, scandals maybe, this sort of thing, right? Gossip. It works, right, on the media. So create React app and then space the name of the app. I'm going to call it Hollywood Actors. Can I call it Hollywood? Probably no, right? We are broadcasting for all the audiences. So let's call it Hollywood actors. By running that command and pressing enter, something very magic will happen. So when we press enter, look at the message, creating a new React app, right? So this is essentially bootstrapping, as I said before, a new React application. If you pay attention to the logs, something that probably we should do more often, it's telling you installing React blah blah blah. So it's essentially doing things, right? It's installing a few things with React. In reality, from a human point of view, this is creating a new folder in your system. What's the name of the folder? The name of the folder matches the name of the app. So if your app is called Hollywood Actors, the name of the folder will be Hollywood Actors. If the name of the app will be Foldable Phone, the name of the folder will be Foldable Phone, whatever. Yeah? Again, the topic is not that important. Choose whatever you feel confident. Yeah? One of the most important aspects to get good at coding is to do something that motivates you. If you don't care about Hollywood actors, change the topic. If you like football teams, yeah, it's the same principle, displaying a list of elements, right? If you like cars, if you like fashion, whatever, yeah? This process may take, as I said, between 2 and 3 minutes. Something we can do in between, actually, it's finishing already. Yeah, I hate when it looks like it's done, but then it keeps doing things, right? But now it looks like it's over. So, once it's finished, you will see a message at the bottom. Look at the message, guys. We suggest that you begin by typing, look at these 2 commands, cd Hollywood actors. In my case, if you call it Brexit, you'll have to type cd Brexit, yeah? So I'm going to type cd. You know what cd stands for? Change directory, correct. That means drill down into the new directory you have created, yeah? And then on the next command, I'll give you a hint. Unless it's too late, if you run it already, that's fine. But if you didn't run the next command npm start, don't do that. Because I'll show you a better way to deal with your React application, right? So even though we are very tempted, right, to run the command, I'm not going to do it. Again, if you did that, that's fine. Don't take any action. But if you didn't, now let's start talking about Visual Studio. Again, if you watch the video, we talk about installing Visual Studio. Do you know what Visual Studio Code is? It's an editor. It's a text. It's a code editor. Correct. Correct. Do you know why we recommend to use Visual Studio? Because that's not maybe the common thing you may think about, right? There are other editors. Do you know any other editor, code editor? Sublime. What else? Atom. What else? Notepad. Notepad++. Yeah. Yeah. Which one? NetBeans.
Brackets. Yeah.
Brackets. Eclipse. IntelliJ. WebStorm. Lots, right? Why Visual Studio? Can anyone tell me a reason why we are going to use, again, this is not mandatory. If you fall in love with Notepad, that's fine, right? It's very romantic. It's very, it's you and Notepad. Notepad and, but unless you are very opinionated about the code editor, I will recommend you to use Visual Studio Code. Does anyone know why?
Supported by Max.
Supported by Max, but Sublime is also supported by Max, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so.
It has a lot of integrated stuff like the terminal.
Correct, yeah, correct. It has some nice utilities out of the box, but again, today with Sublime you can get similar things, yeah? So,
JavaScript.
say it again?
It's built in JavaScript.
That's a very sexy answer. I wasn't expecting you to know that, but that's true. That's true. Visual Studio Code is written in JavaScript. If we want to be successful JavaScript developers, we should trust JavaScript tooling. It's one of the most important projects in the JavaScript community. Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. Apart from that technical reason, Visual Studio Code is supported by Microsoft. Yeah, I gave a conference for Google in 2015, and all the Google employees were using it already. And to me, it was like shocking. Why the Google employees are using Visual Studio? And they explained that, and they were right. Obviously, they're very smart people. So Visual Studio Code, there is a big company behind, which is Microsoft. It's open source, so everyone can contribute. So it's very romantic. Everyone can contribute, right? No one. I mean, no one does that. That's not true, of course. But you know, you need to be really good to be able to contribute. But sometimes contributing to Visual Studio Code is maybe finding a typo. Yeah, you can find a typo in the menu, right? I do lots of typos. I'm Spanish. I do lots of typos in English. Yeah, but that's the good thing. The community tells you, yeah, don't say you'll be working in baking. It's banking, right? These sort of things. So it's open source. You got a new release every month, so you know that you're always up to date, right? Because it happens automatically. You don't have to install anything. You know that ugly message, hey, there is a new update. Please stop everything, restart the laptop. Shut up, right? If you want to update anything, do it, but don't bother me. Yeah. So they are really good on that. Yeah. So and as David said, it's supported. It's written in JavaScript. Yeah, we'll see in the last 5 minutes what that actually implies, because it has massive side effects in the web. We'll see at the end of the session. For now, unless I didn't manage to convince you, please open Visual Studio, right? And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm too tired today to convince anyone to these sort of things. So Visual Studio, it's open. You'll get probably something like that, like a welcome page, blah, blah, blah. So let's open the project that we have just created. So how do we do that? On top, you will see an option file. And then, depending on the version of VS Code, you'll either see open ... or open folder ... Both are valid. Just click open. Yeah. And now, please find where your Hollywood Actors project is. And this is where people gets a bit stuck, right? So where is your project created? Well, it depends. By default, unless you've been playing with the directory structure of your system, the React application has been created in your home directory. What your home directory is, if you're a Mac user, you can hopefully select the home icon, yeah, and then it will be there somewhere, right? So in my case, let's see if I can find it. Right, probably can short it alphabetically, otherwise I can spend hours trying to find it, right? Should be there, right? Sorry, let me check where I created. So if you don't know where you created, if you're a Mac user, you can type pwd, and it will tell you where the project was created, yeah? If you are not happy with the location, you can always move it somewhere else. Yeah, and because I don't really like where I drop it, you don't have to do that, because I don't think you've been doing this kind of weird things. So just give me a second, and I'll move it to a different location. So now, hopefully, if I select open again, let me see if now I can find it. Here you go, right? I got my Hollywood Actors, finally. Could be on your home directory. Again, if you're a Mac user, it will be on, select the home icon on the drop-down, and then just find the Hollywood Actors. If you're a Windows user, it's a bit trickier. In Windows, it will be under C:/users/your username/ and it's there. Right? It's a bit harder to find. But anyway, I hope you know how to find it, hopefully. So once you identify where the project is, simply select the folder, one click, and then we are ready to start working with React. So first of all, what do we got so far? What we got, as I mentioned maybe 3 times already, is the skeleton of a sample app written in React. So the first thing we need to do, and the only missing requirement to start coding, is to start the server. When we talk about JavaScript and React applications, so the way it works is you start a server and then your app is offered from that server. Yeah? Why when you go to facebook.com you get data? Because Facebook has a server, not one server, they have like 4,000 servers, but in reality it's the same principle, right? They have a farm of servers, but that's the same principle. And they, from these servers, they give you images, text, personal details, sensitive information that say shouldn't give to you, all these sort of things. So, how do we start the server? Do you remember I told you before that there was a command npm start that I told you, if you run it already, that's fine, but if you didn't run it, now I would like to run it, but instead of using the external black and white screen, I would like to run it from Visual Studio Code. Why? Because it's more productive. If I run the server in the terminal, I need to keep switching between one tab and the other to see if there is any error, if there is any problem. Yeah. However, if I run the server from here, all my sensible information is in the same screen. So it's way easier to debug, to extend, to modify. Yeah. Productivity. As you may know here, we run a bootcamp. We help people to become professional JavaScript developers. One of the reasons why they get a job after the bootcamp is because they are very productive. They learn how to do more in less time. So how do we open the terminal in Visual Studio? If you go to the top menu, you will see an option called View. And then there is, more or less in the middle, there is a button that says Terminal. You see that? View Terminal. Depending on the version you have of Visual Studio Code, it will say Terminal or Integrated Terminal. Yeah? I don't know what kind of discussion the guys at Microsoft have to, to rename things. But anyway, Terminal or Integrated Terminal. So please click on it and you will see a very nice terminal at the bottom. That's the same thing, yeah? You can even zoom it a bit. So you see I got a terminal here, so I can type whatever I want, yeah? So it's either you can use the external terminal or the integrated one. As I said, I prefer this one, easier. So once you got the terminal, and unless you ran npm start already, if you did that already, just ignore me for the next 25 seconds. But if you didn't ignore me, now please type npm space start. That's the standard way in 2019 to start a JavaScript application. Yeah? So please type npm start and press enter. If it's the very first time, it may take a bit to set up everything, but eventually you will see that without doing anything, automatically it will open a new tab in our default browser. In my case, it's Google Chrome, yeah? And after few very long seconds, you get that, yeah? That's the way to prove our system has been correctly set up. Any question? No? Right. So on the next 36.5 minutes, I'm going to do React coding, and hopefully you can do it with me, right? I'll keep asking questions, and we'll try to have an interactive session as much as possible. So the very first thing, if you notice, you get a very descriptive message saying edit source app and save to reload. So what that message is telling us is please go to Visual Studio, and on the left hand side you have a navigation panel, right? So you can find all the files of your project. So please click on src, and then you will find a file called app.js. Please click on it. Does anyone know what language is that? HTML. It looks like HTML. It's not actually HTML. Does anyone know the correct way to... JSX, I like it. Yes, that's correct. JSX. So what's the difference between HTML and JSX? They are 99% the same, right? Actually, from this distance, it looks HTML. But there are some subtle differences. Describing the differences is beyond the scope of the session. But just to keep the thing simple, you can assume that yes, this is HTML. But this is an HTML component that is encapsulated as part of what type of file is that, guys? App.js. What's that? JavaScript, correct. We have HTML inside of JavaScript. This is the way React works. Yeah? So React thought it was a good idea to combine JavaScript and HTML. And yeah, the time and the community they say that they were right? Because it's a very good way, it's a very productive way to create stuff. So let's do something. Let's change line number 12, when it says edit source app and save to reload, to welcome to the actors app, or just whatever you want, right? Welcome to Bermondsey, I don't know, whatever. Just change the title and then save the file. Once you save the file, please don't refresh the browser. Don't refresh. Simply go to the browser and see what happened. What happened? It refreshed by itself. Yeah? That may sound something trivial, but this is not any trivial at all. So thankfully, today, with modern software development, we don't have to refresh the browser every time we change something. You may be thinking, it's not a big deal to refresh the browser, right? But if you're working on the industry for a few years, probably you spend a few days pressing the button, yeah? So it's definitely a good thing. You don't have to refresh the browser. It happens magically. Not magically, it's science. But anyway, it happens automatically at least, yeah? So that's good, yeah? Let's talk about productivity. You get the idea, right? So we're going to do coding here, and then back to Chrome, and then more coding, and then back to Chrome. It's ping pong, right? If you like ping pong, we have a table here, we can play. But that's good for ping pong, but that's not good for coding. I want to have all my sensible information available at the same time. I'll show you a trick. This is not even about coding. It's about how modern systems work. And you may not like it, especially if you have a small laptop. But if you have a decent screen, I'll show you how to display both the browser and the editor side by side. If you're a Windows user, simply drag the Visual Studio window, drag it to the left, then drop it. Yeah? If you are a Mac user, hold the green maximize button, yeah, and look at what happened. Why this is so nice? Because if I drop it on the left-hand side, now Mac is telling me, okay, I got the editor on the left. What do you want to drop on the right-hand side? Well, I want to drop the browser, obviously. Yeah? So why this is so cool? Because now, look at what happened. If I change the title, immediate, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, again, that's my favorite layout. You may disagree on that. So, one more thing, because we like to work on mobile, and JavaScript plays really well on mobile, I'm going to do the next steps for mobile. How do we do that? So with Google Chrome, there is something called development tools. So Chrome offers you the possibility to simulate how your application will look like on a phone. And you can even simulate different devices. iPhones, Samsung Galaxies, you know, they have a range of devices, and you can add yours as well. So let's see how to do that. If anywhere on the screen on the right-hand side, you do right-click. I hope everybody knows how to do right-click, right? So you do right-click, you select Inspect at the bottom. It will open a panel, generally speaking, at the bottom, but because it's not the first time I open it, it's on the right-hand side. If it's at the bottom, you will see a tiny button, menu button, ... on top right. So if you click on it, you can decide where do you want to display the development tools panel. My favorite approach is on the right-hand side. I feel that's quite natural, but feel free to move it anywhere else. So once you do that, finally, you will see another tiny button on the left-hand side of the DevTools panel. And if you hover the button, it will tell you what's going on here. Toggle device toolbar. If you click on it, it will essentially, obviously the resolution here is not great, but it will simulate how your app will look like across different devices. You see, we can select Galaxy, Pixel, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPhone X, iPads, and even you can add yours, right? Be careful with that. This is a low fidelity simulation. This is just simulating the screen. This is not simulating the hardware. This is not simulating, you know, all the accelerometers and all these things. Yeah? Just the screen. But as a first step, yeah, I think it's quite good, right? So I'm going to select, yeah, iPhone 6, 7, 8 Plus. Why not that one? Yeah. So I got here my simulator. So now we can do some coding. Because we got a landing page with, this is the, by the way, I didn't tell you, but this is the React logo. You see the spinner thingy? React logo. But I don't care about that. I hope we don't care about that. We want to create something personal, unique. So I would like to remove everything, actually. So you see that as part of your HTML on the left-hand side, you got an HTML element, semantic element called header. You see header? Yeah? So please, let's delete it. Let's be a bit aggressive now. Delete it. Yeah? Something like that. Something very simple. Just the app. And then let's put the title again. Welcome to the Actors app. Yeah? So once we put a title, it will be reflected on the right-hand side. Let's talk about usability. What do you think, guys? Is that title good enough for our app? What do you think? It's too small, right? I cannot even see what's going on, right? The title should be big, bold, right? Big statement. Do you know in HTML how to change the size of the text? H1, correct. Let's do that. H1, that's a heading, right? So if you surround your sexy title with an H1 tag, okay, looking a bit better now, right? Welcome to the Actors app. Right? So now at least we can read the title. Any question? No? Right, so even if you don't notice, we are already dealing with React because that's a React component. So the main reason why React became so successful is the concept of a component. So this is our very first and main component called app. This is our entry component. Yeah? I would like to create another component today and we'll see how to communicate components. For now, let's add some sugar, let's add some content. I would like to display an actor, and you are going to help me on that. So, I'm going to add a div on the left-hand side, and as part inside of the div, I will display the name of the actor. Tell me a Hollywood actor, guys. Did you say Tom Cruise? Okay, Tom Cruise. No one said that, right? But it always works because the guy is always smiling. So, you know, it's good for this kind of sessions to see people smiling. So, we got Tom Cruise, and that means that, yeah, we got it here, right? Tom Cruise, he has the name. Let's add a picture. Let's learn how to add pictures with React. So, to add a picture, first of all, we need to find a picture. And this is not about coding. This is about searching on Google, yeah? So I'm going to Google and I'm going to type Tom Cruise and then images, and then you see some pictures of the always smiling Tom Cruise. You can download any image, to be honest. I'm going to do something a bit unexpected now. So I'm going to make sure that all my images have the same size, the same width and the same height. Why? Because from a layout point of view, that will make my app look nicer, but that's optional. If you don't care about, if you don't mind about styling, just ignore me. Yeah? But if you look after all these kind of details, do you know in Google how to search images of a specific size? No? Look, on the right-hand side, you have a button on Google Images called Tools. If you click on it, you can select size, and then you can select an exact size. Yeah? So then you can tell Google, please give me all the images of Tom Cruise that are exactly a given size. For instance, I'm going to search all the square images of Tom Cruise 6040 by 6040, just as an example. Huh? So now if I refresh, yeah, all the images, if you notice, you see at the bottom, oh, I clicked somewhere, sorry about that. So all the images have 6040 by 6040. Yeah. So I'll take this one, yes, random image, and then image, save image as. Let's download the image. Yeah. Where do we want to download the image? That's an important thing. We are going to download the image inside of the project. Inside of the project. That means, unfortunately, we need to find the project again. Yeah? So, I'm sure if you manage to find it once, you'll manage to find it twice. Very important. Can we drop the image anywhere in the project? What do you think? Not really. Almost. You will notice, correct, as someone said, there is a source folder. All your source code should be dropped inside of the source folder. Inside of the source folder, you can do whatever you want. You have full control. You can create subfolders, you can create files, images, videos, you can do whatever you want. But that's the requirement. Everything should go inside of the SRC folder. Also, I would recommend you to rename the image, because in my case, the name image is Tom Cruise 6913 blah 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 blah, right? We'll need to access the name of the image. So please make sure that this is, you know, a simple name, right? So I call it Tom-Cruise. Yeah?
Can we create also another folder?
You can create another folder. Yeah. You're making the things a bit more complicated, but if you want, you can create a new folder, yes. So we'll save the image, and then if you pay attention on the left-hand side, on the navigation panel, you will see the image inside of the source folder. Yeah? All good? Can you click on the image? Of course you can, yeah? You get lots of Tom Cruise on the screen now. So, now the question is, how do we display the image of Tom Cruise? Does anyone know how to display images with React? Image tag. That's interesting. Eventually, if you learn a bit of HTML, you know there is something called image tag. With image tag, you can display images. But before doing that, and that's a common pattern in modern software development in JavaScript, we need to import the image. You may have noticed that we got some imports on top. So import means make this resource, could be an image, could be a video, could be an audio, could be whatever, make that resource available to the current screen. Yeah? So let's import it. To import the image, we need to type import, and then the name of the variable that will contain the image. How would you call the variable, guys? Image. Tom Cruise. It's a bit more specific, right? Because we may have multiple images. So let's think about semantics. The name of the images should reflect the content of the image, yeah? So once we have the variable name, we have to type from, and here we specify where the image is. If you drop it in the source folder, the only thing you need to do is to type the image name, tom-cruise.jpg, in my case. The way to know if you did it right or not, if you fail typing the name of the image, I'll fail it on purpose. You see, you'll get errors. Failed to compile. Yeah? If you get this kind of ugly red message, make sure that the name of the image is correct. Yeah? Tom Cruise. Once you fix the problem, the image is not displayed yet, but at least the app works. Yeah? So, can we rename it? Is it necessary to call the variable Tom Cruise? Can we call it Donald Trump? What do you think? Anything, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. So the name of the variable could be anything. However, for readability purposes, don't call it Donald Trump, right? Call it Tom Cruise. So then, once we got the image imported, let's see how to display it. To display it, as you suggested, after the name of the actor, add an image tag. And then, what else? Do you remember how to add an image in HTML? src, correct. Be careful, src, not scr. That's a classic problem. Why it doesn't work? Because you type scr. It's not scr, it's src. Yeah? And then equals, and that's the tricky part. When I mentioned that HTML and JSX are 99% similar, this is one of the 1% differences. To display the image, we need to put curly braces, and then inside of the curly braces, the name of the variable that has the image on top. Tom Cruise. And finally, we have to close the image tag with a slash and the greater symbol. Oh, Tom Cruise is there. Yeah? Is there any question?
Still getting an error.
You're still getting an error?
Yeah, I tried to rename before.
Cool. Yeah, so once we got the image, you may notice that the image is quite large, actually. It's larger than my phone. Does anyone know why? I want to fit the image on the screen, and unfortunately, the image is too large. It may be okay on a smaller phone, but you can see it's going beyond the boundaries of my phone. Yeah? So I need to scroll. I need to scroll to the right to see the image. I don't want to do that. I want to see the image completely. The way to solve it, and I would like to introduce a new concept now. Let's talk about CSS very briefly. If you check the folder structure, you got app.javascript, and you also got app.css. Yeah? If you open the CSS, we can customize the styling of the app. So I'll show you a trick. I'm going to remove pretty much everything on the CSS, and I'll show you how to make sure that your images match the exact size of the device, regardless of whether it's an iPhone or it's a Samsung or it's whatever, right? The way to solve it is you type img, and then you open and close curly brackets, and then what you can type is width 100%. Simply by doing that, look at what happened. You see a difference? Immediately, you see, I'll comment that, you see? I hope you agree that it looks better now, right? Because you don't have to scroll with your finger to see Tom Cruise, right? It's there completely. Right. So this is the structure of the first actor. If we are happy with that, we can easily extend it. We can add more actors and actresses. For instance, let me copy. You see we added a div a few minutes ago. So let's copy the entire div containing the title and the image. Let's copy that and let's paste it immediately after. What happened? We got Tom Cruise twice. Yeah? Let's do that again. Let's paste it once again. 3 times. Yeah? Tom Cruise is 3 times on a stage. Yeah? This is clearly not what we want. We want to display different actors. So, can you tell me an actress? That's too complicated for me, I'm afraid. Can you spell that? J-U-L... Oh, sorry. L-I-J... No. Julia. Oh, Julia Roberts. All right. Yeah, of course. Julia Roberts. Right. So same thing, right? Let's pick a random picture of Julia Roberts. As you can see, Google is still offering me the size that I requested before, 640 by 640. So let's take a random picture of Julia Roberts. Let's save image as. I'm going to do that quicker because that's literally the same thing, right? You get the image of Julia Roberts, Julia-Roberts, and then you download it. Tell me another actor or actress, guys. Last one.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, correct. Brad Pitt, same thing, right? Take the image and you download it. Save image as, and then download it. Brad Pitt, yeah? Right. So, I'm not going to do that. You'll tell me. How do we display Julia Roberts? What steps do we have to follow? Import, correct. Import what?
Import variable name and
Julia Roberts from whatever Julia Roberts is, right? Julia Roberts.jpg in my case. Yeah? But why Julia Roberts is not displayed? Still displaying Tom Cruise. What else do we need to do?
change the source.
Correct. On the second image, we need to change the source from Tom Cruise to Julia Roberts. Nice. Yeah? Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts. Obviously, change the name, right? From Tom Cruise to Julia Roberts, right? Finally, how do we display Brad Pitt? That's the same thing again, right? You see the pattern. The pattern, which could be a bit complicated the first time, thankfully is the same. First you import, then display. First you import, then display. First you import, then display. So let's do that by the last time. Import Brad Pitt from Brad Pitt. Yeah? Well, and then we can display Brad Pitt at the bottom. Brad Pitt. Is he divorced or is he still married? No one knows. Anyway, right? So, we got Brad Pitt, we got Julia Roberts, and we got Tom Cruise, yeah? You got these three guys on the screen. Off-topic question. Do you know, look at Tom Cruise. Do you know what's the technical way to refer to this syntax where we have two words, right? First name and last name, Tom, and then Cruise. What's the correct, the technical way to refer to that syntax where the words are joined and the first character of the second word is capitalized? How do we call that? Camel case, that's correct. Camel case. Why camel case? It is like a camel, right? Correct. What happened, however, if I change the T, the first word, with capital T? What's the correct way to describe that casing conventions? That's a bit more complicated. It's not that common. No one? This is Pascal case. Do you know what Pascal is? What? No, underscore is, we'll talk about underscore in a second. No. So that case where all the words start with capital is Pascal case, because Pascal, which is a very old programming language, yeah, very old, you know, these old people working with big mainframes and doing weird things, yeah. So they use it a lot, right? Pascal case. Also, someone was talking about underscore, like that. What's that? What's the technical way to describe that, guys? Is what? No, that's not case. Correct. We'll talk about that next, right? Snake. Correct. David, that's a snake. Yeah? Snake, because it does like a snake, right? Up and down. Yeah? And finally, what's that? That's correct. That's kebab case, which is a bit exotic, but it's true. It's kebab case. At least the community today accepts kebab, because this is like the blade that goes through the meat. Yeah? Kebab. If you're a classic, proper old developer, it will be a bit weird, right, to refer kebab, because before kebabs even existed, that case already existed, was in place, right? So in the old times, and that's still valid, so the way to describe that case was Lisp, L-I-S-P, Lisp case. Why? Because again, Lisp, which is a very old programming language, was the first one to introduce or to make this syntax, this kind of pattern popular. Yeah. If you notice, as soon as I change the case to kebab or Lisp, look, Visual Studio is complaining. You see that very long red line. Yeah. Kebab case is the only case that is not supported in JavaScript. Yeah. So if you do that, it will fail. Boom. Errors, alerts, red text everywhere. Yeah. So don't use kebab case for that. Right. So hopefully everyone has the three actors on the screen. But now, because we are working on an agile company, you know what agile is? Sounds familiar, right? Agile is this new methodology, not that new anymore, but relatively new thing, where you do something, you deliver it to your customers, the sooner the better, and then you get feedback, and if they complain, then you change it quickly, and then you release again. You know, we're trying to release less things, but more often, to listen to our audience. Yeah, that's part of the agile process. So, as part of the agile process, our customers, because they can give us feedback, right, on the social media or, you know, it doesn't matter how, they are complaining that they struggle to read the name of the actors because they say it's very small. Yeah, they are asking, please make the titles a bit larger. How do we change the name of the actors? Sorry, not the name, the size of the text representing the actors. How do we do that? Correct. Instead of H3, we can put H2. Yeah? H2. And then this looks bigger right now. You see, compare Tom Cruise with Julia Roberts. So, assuming that we like that, we agree on that, let's repeat the pattern for Julia and Brad. Yeah? So now it looks better. And now our customers are happy. However, what happened if we got some funding and we managed to define 300 actors? Would be a bit tiring to change H3 to H2 300 times, right? Think about companies like Netflix. When you want to watch a TV show on Netflix, yeah? If they want to change the color, they don't change the color 3,000 times. Of course not, yeah? So this is why React is so popular, because with React, we can abstract an actor into a component, and then whenever we want to change something, we change it once, and the change gets deployed everywhere to all our actors, right? So that's why now I will finally like to introduce a new component in React. How do we do that? There are multiple ways to create components. If you follow us on YouTube, you will see we have specific workshops to talk about what a component is, how can we create a stateful component, a stateless component, and all these sort of things. But for now, let's create something very simple. Let's create a component. On top of the file, after the imports and before the class, please create a JavaScript function. So please type function, space, and then actor with capital A. Yeah? And because this is a JavaScript function, now we need to open and close parentheses, and then open and close curly brackets. Yeah? So that's a JavaScript function, but at the same time, that's a React component. So the beautifulness of React is that it's a superset of JavaScript. Yeah? So React is built on JavaScript. So whatever works in React, it will work on JavaScript. Excuse me, on the other way around. Whatever works on JavaScript, it will work on React. Yeah. So with a React component, let's do a smoke test. Do you know what a smoke test is? Smoke test. You know when you turn 18 years old. I hope everybody passed that already. And you start driving. Probably the very first car you get access is an old car from your aunt or from whoever, a second-hand car. And sometimes the car doesn't work well, because it's a very old car. So smoke test means start the engine, look at the back of the car, and if there is a smoke, that means that the car works. Is that correct? Not really, right? The car may not work at all. But definitely, if you start the engine and there is no smoke, yeah, then that's it. The car won't work, right? I'm wondering what will happen in the future with electric cars, right? I imagine myself with 70 years old talking these jokes, right, to the teenagers, and they say, well, what does smoke in a car means? But anyway, that's a separate problem. So for now, I hope you still understand that. So let's do a smoke test. Let's see if there is a smoke, if the React component behaves as expected. So please type return, and then just put a div, an HTML div, and inside of the div, just text like hello React component. Just simple text, dummy text, yeah? So now, how can we display the actor component? At the end of the day, an actor is an HTML tag. And that's the beautifulness of React. It's very declarative. So if we want to display the actor, the only thing we need to do is somewhere, for instance, after the title, look at what we can do. I'm declaring a new tag. You see this, the tag symbol, HTML. That's an HTML tag, right? Called actor. So as soon as we do that, look at what happened. We got the message, hello React component. Yeah? So that means that we can connect our main component with a newly created actor component. What happened, guys, if I duplicate the line number 17? What do you think will happen? If I copy line number 17, so I have two actors.
Yeah, you get twice.
Correct, it will display the message twice. Here you go. What happens if I copy it again? The same, right? So the beautifulness of React components is we can reuse them as many times as we want. So, because we don't want to display that dummy text, we want to display free actors, let's, first of all, I'm going to move Tom Cruise, including the surrounding div, you see? I'm going to move it, and I'm going to put it, I'm going to replace the actor component with Tom Cruise. Something like that. Yeah? So what happened now? Even though it's a bit hard to see, because we still, let's remove the other two actors, just for simplicity purposes. Look at what happened. Tom Cruise got displayed 3 times. The way it works is display an actor, no problem at all. Here is Tom Cruise. Then display another actor, no problem at all, Tom Cruise again. Then display a third actor, hey, easy, Tom Cruise, right? We got Tom Cruise 3 times. So that proves 2 things. First of all, we can invoke the same component multiple times, and whatever the content of the component is, it will be re-displayed, which is a good thing. I hope you can start analyzing the benefits of components, because now if we want to change the size of the title from H2 to H1, we do it once, and then here you go, right? The title is there. If we want to add some exclamation marks on the name of the actor, you do it once, and then every time you got the exclamation marks, yeah? But can anyone see any problem? Say again? Correct, that's correct. Even though, technically speaking, the idea looks very sexy, in reality, where is Julia? Where is Brad? We've lost them, right? So, let's learn, and this will be the final part of the session, how to customize the behavior of our newly created actor component. In React, you can do something very nice, which is we can pass properties to a component. For instance, on the first actor, we can pass name on the HTML. Name equals and the name of the actor, Tom Cruise. Let's do the same thing for the other two. Tom Cruise, we got Julia Roberts, and finally we got Brad Pitt. Yeah? What happened, guys? Did it work or not? Not really, yeah? Not really. Still Tom Cruise. How old is this guy, by the way? He's like 50 something already, right? So, why this is not working? This is not working because the actor component is still statically displaying Tom Cruise. It's ignoring our request to change the name of the actor. Do you see the problem, right? So now the question is, how do we bind, how do we connect these two components? It's pretty simple. The way to do that is inside of the parentheses of the actor component, we can receive the data that we want to customize. So that data is an object. If you attended yesterday's session where we did an introduction to JavaScript, we explained what an object is. An object is essentially a collection of properties and values in JavaScript. Ignoring the details of what an object is, simply type props. You can type whatever you want, you can type Brexit if you want. But the React community accepts props as the standard. Because you want to make your code readable and understandable by others. If you call it Brexit, it will be hard to understand what are you trying to achieve. If you call it props, that will be immediate. Yeah? So once we got props, let's remove Tom Cruise. And now let's do something a bit tricky. Because we don't want to display anything hard-coded, we want to display a variable. The way we display variables in React is again using curly brackets. Do you remember we use curly brackets to display the image? Let's do the same thing. Inside of the title, just put curly brackets. And then props dot what? What's the name of the property we want to display? Name, correct. Because we call it name here. Name, name, and name. Yeah? So look at what happened now. Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, and Brad Pitt. So now at least the titles are dynamic. And then you'll tell me, how do we change the image? Two more questions remaining before finishing the session. First one, how do we change the image dynamically?
Another argument.
Correct, another argument. Technically speaking, another attribute. Yeah? In HTML, that's an attribute with a key and a value. Yeah? So we can do the same thing with images, of course. So can we add another attribute called photo, for instance? Photo equals, and now because we want to refer to a variable, again, how do we refer a variable in React? Curly braces, correct. And then the name of the variable you imported a while ago on top, you remember? Tom Cruise. Let's do the same thing with Julia Roberts. And of course, let's do the same thing with Brad Pitt. With double T, I believe, right? Yeah. Would this work or not? Oh, come on, Tom. Still there, right? Why the images weren't refreshed as expected? Correct, 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 correct. Even though the name of the actor is dynamic, the image is still static. Yeah? So what do we need to put here on the source tag? Props.photo, I like that. Well done. So if we put props.photo, nice, it works. Yeah? We have successfully created a very nice React component. And now, the very last question of the day. What if now, after releasing that application, we start getting millions of customers, big success? Obviously, we want to extend it. Because we know that gossip sells, right? And if we add a bit of, gossip details, we can have more customers, right? People gets bored easily, so they like to see the problems of these people, right? So, for instance, our business is suggesting to display how old each actor is. Yeah? So they want to see Brad Pitt, space, parenthesis, and then how old Brad Pitt is. Julia Roberts, parenthesis, how old Julia Roberts is. You see the idea, right? So how do we do that? You'll tell me. You'll tell me. What do we need to do to display the age of each actor? Another attribute, correct. How we call the attribute? Age. Yes, 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 yes. Why not? We can do whatever we want, right? But age makes sense, right? How old Tom Cruise is? Anyone? 60, 50. I think it's older than 50, right? 56. Yeah, it's very nice because Google realized that a lot of people was asking how old actors are. That's why in the past you need to go to Wikipedia, in which year he or she was born, calculating, but now Google got better in semantics, right? Do you know why, off topic, why Google introduced images? Something happened one day that Google said we need to put images. Does anyone know what? I'll give you a hint. J-Lo. You know J-Lo? Jennifer Lopez. Yes? Something happened with her, and that's true. That's a real story. Because of that, Google decided to introduce Google Images. So a long time ago, he was nominated to the Oscars. And apparently, she had a beautiful green dress. It was so nice that a lot of people went to Google to type J-Lo dress 2000, something like that. That one, correct. Images. Because everyone tried to get that, and they didn't have any image. They realized it could be a good idea, yeah, to have a specific section to see how J-Lo dressed on that day 19 years ago. Yeah, long time ago. Cool. So, yeah, we got the age of Tom Cruise. We know he's 56. How old Julia Roberts is? Anyone? 40s. No, it's probably older, right? 51. I like that. Julia Roberts' age. 51. You know that? Or just guessing?
No, I checked.
Oh, you see, she's been honest, right? It's a good thing to be honest. So, you know, I've been doing hundreds of interviews in my life. And there's a classic issue. When you ask something, especially in a phone interview, do you know in JavaScript how to create whatever? And sometimes, the answer is, and you hear it's typing. It's searching on Google the answer, right? And suddenly after 30 seconds, gives you a really good answer, right? That person has been typing, yeah? And then, because you know he's been typing or she's been typing, sometimes you just Google that. If the person is honest, will tell you, oh, yes, sorry. And that's fine. That's fine. But if they don't, no, I know that. Okay, you break the CV because that person is not reliable. Anyway, Julia Roberts is 51. And how old Brad Pitt is? 50 something, right? It's interesting. Just type in B. I didn't notice that. Literally, look. Just type B. Apparently, the most popular search on the internet, starting with B.
No, it's customized to you.
Are these customized to me? Yeah, really? I'm not searching these kind of things, right? Anyway, Google, right? It's 55. Cool, 55. So now, how do we display Brad Pitt's age? Same way. Look, I'm going to put parentheses on the right-hand side of the name, and then props.age. Oh, nice. What happened without curly brackets? Ooh, that's ugly, right? As someone suggested, correct. We need curly brackets. Nice. Yeah, it works. So that's the way you extend your React components. We can easily pass more attributes and then display them on the component. Yeah. Before we finish, I told you there was a surprise. It's not a big thing, right? Probably it was a big hype here, but because React is very popular. Yeah. So some of you may know that, but here at Codery we have a platform to train and to help you improving your JavaScript skills. We got some future students on the bootcamp here who already had the opportunity to train it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to codery.com, which is our corporate website, you get lots of things about the bootcamp and all the sort of things. But there is a link on top that says play. If you click on play and you sign up, which as I said is completely free, then what you will get is access to our training platform. So that training platform essentially is the way our students become successful JavaScript developers. So it's an online game where you can test your JavaScript skills. So for instance, you can answer JavaScript questions and then that gives you the score, how good you are with JavaScript, right? We also do coding challenges, coding challenge, next one on the 5th of March. Everyone will be doing a JavaScript game, and then you will compare your ability to write JavaScript against others, and then you'll be on the ranks. So the ranks is what the industry has access to determine how good everyone with JavaScript is. So why I'm mentioning that? Because one of the new things we are introducing shortly, still is a prototype, is React training. So what React training means? That. So that means you can test your React skills. This is basic. So here we're expecting to create a welcome component. Today we create an author component. So here we're expecting to create a welcome component. And that welcome component is supposed to return a message, welcome to React, which is pretty much what we did at the beginning of the session, right? So here we got our component. So this is very basic, right? But hey, to get some feeling about how the platform works. So here we need to type welcome to React. Yeah. So if we type that, do you think that will work or not, guys? What do you think? A colon. Maybe a semicolon, maybe. Let's see what happens if we evaluate the exercise. Obviously, here we explain you how to deal with a platform, all these sort of things, which I'm going to ignore now. But if we evaluate it, look, this is compiling and evaluating the React component. Look at what happened, guys. It failed. It's telling you why it fails. Can anyone spot the problem? Here you got what we return. And here we got what we expect. Can anyone see the difference?
Exclamation.
The exclamation, correct. JavaScript is about details, yeah? So if you put the exclamation mark at the end of the line and you evaluate it again, unless I've miserably failed, now look at that. Yeah, you see, now it's green, yeah? We also talk, as someone mentioned before, missing semicolon, because here we talk about best practices, how to create proper standard JavaScript code. That means if we add a semicolon at the end of the line, now our code is elegant, right? So after submitting all the questions, again, you'll get a score, and that will tell you how good you are with JavaScript. So this is one of the tools here we use as part of the bootcamp to progress as a JavaScript and React developers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If anyone is interested in the bootcamp, next one is sold out on the full-time plan. We still got some places on the evening plan. If anyone wants to, like we did today, in a regular basis, twice a week, we still got some places on the evening plan. So if you go to codery.com, you'll find all the details, how to book your place, and all this sort of things. Apart from that, thank you very much for attending this session, which is the last one until April that we do here. Yeah, we'll do some events in central London next month, but here activity will go back in April. So thank you very much for coming, and see you soon, guys. Cheers.